Que estamos en un mundo muy conectado, globalizado, que eso ha generado lazos, sinergias e incluso dependencias innegables. ¿Eso qué significa? Que hay que abrir miras, ¿eh? Y es lo que vamos a hacer ahora. Bank of East Asia es el mayor banco local independiente y es el tercer mayor banco de Hong Kong. Pues desde la perspectiva asiática y en concreto desde China, ¿cómo creen que valoran la situación actual? Pues tenemos la opinión y las reflexiones de Adrian, CEO de Bank of East Asia. Le escuchamos.
Mr. Isidro Fainay, Chairman of the CEDE Foundation, and distinguished participants, both online and in person, of the 20th Congress of the Spanish Confederations of Directors and Executive. Good morning from Hong Kong. It gives me great pleasure to address this prestigious annual Congress. I speak to you on the kind invitation of Chairman Isidro Fainay, who is a dear friend that I have the greatest respect for. The theme of today's conference is New Times, New Opportunities. But before we look forward to the future, I would like to reflect on the past and identify the differentiating factors that future success will depend on. In particular, I would like to discuss this from an Asian perspective. We are now some 18 months into the global pandemic that has brought unprecedented challenges to all people, businesses, and communities around the world. Different countries have adopted different approaches to combat COVID that have yielded very different results. In many parts of Asia, where the economy is dependent on global connectivity, attempts to open up have brought new waves of outbreak, stalling any signs of recovery. By contrast, the zero-tolerance strategy of mainland China has allowed economic activities to reignite within strict border controls and quarantine measures. According to the latest Asian Development Bank forecast, China shall enjoy a strong rebound of over 8% growth this year, versus that of 3.1% for Southeast Asia. What has emerged from this extremely difficult period is the importance of sustainability and resiliency. And we, as responsible managers, must focus on improving our businesses and society at large to support the global recovery. First, vaccination is clearly going to be a determining factor for managing COVID in the absence of an effective cure. As such, we must encourage those around us to get vaccinated to ensure not only the safety of our workplace, but also our community. In mainland China, over 2 billion doses have been administered in the past few months, with over 75% of the population now vaccinated. Combined with strict travel restrictions, the nation aims to achieve herd immunity within the year. This shall certainly put China in a brighter spot for future growth. Second, there is no doubt that this pandemic has accelerated digital adoption. Whether it is for shopping, working, or banking, people are now showing a clear preference for doing business online. This trend will have a profound impact on companies around the world. We have to cater for the evolving customer preferences and uplift efficiency through front-to-back digital transformation. With the rise of the importance of data, one would also question the legitimacy of its monetization by large technology firms. Not only China, but all other countries may have to grapple with the issues of data ownership, as well as how to prevent businesses from exploiting an advantageous market-leading position to both capture and use data. The recent regulations on Chinese technology companies may one day gain traction in an increasingly digital world to not only contain monopolistic behaviors, but also promote innovation for the greater good. Third, the pandemic has also deepened the divide between the haves and the have-nots. Social inequality and wealth distribution is becoming an important debate. It is commonly understood that a higher Gini coefficient leads to greater political instability, as those that have been left behind in unequal societies grow increasingly dissatisfied with the status quo. According to analysis from the World Bank, the Gini coefficient rose by around 1.5 percentage points on average following previous major epidemics, and early evidence from COVID suggests a similar trend. Governments and business leaders will have to work together to address the social issues that arise. In this context, we should look beyond short-term profitability and consider all our stakeholders' needs, including those of our employees and of our future generations. Indeed, ESG is becoming mainstream and is an integral part of everything we do. Aside from regulatory compliance, we should recognize that there are boundless opportunities emerging from decarbonization as countries and companies alike are committing to a low-carbon future. For example, climate goals have taken center stage in China's 14th Five-Year Plan, which was announced earlier this year. The nation has pledged to peak its carbon emissions by 2030 and achieve net zero by 2060. Related new policies include a nationwide carbon trading market, requiring car manufacturers to produce more electric vehicles, and encouraging the development of green finance. To meet with its emission targets, China would require an estimate of $500 billion in green investments every year. The transition to net zero cannot be achieved in isolation. Governments, businesses, and investors from around the world must unite to build a more sustainable future. No differences in political ideologies shall stop us from working with and learning from one another. It is only through close collaboration across geographies that we will advance to a new era of common prosperity. For now, may I once again thank you for having me speak at this meaningful event. I wish you all a very successful Congress and the greatest of health and good fortune in the months and years ahead.